Hello, Steve Cornelius, Commonwealth Journal Sports Editor. Welcome to the Commonwealth Journal Sports Show. This is our third edition, and before we get started, I'd like to talk a little bit about Somerset High School running back senior Alex Miller. Unfortunately, last week in the Hazard game, he had a season-ending injury, broke his leg. Really hate to see that happen to any athlete. He had worked hard. He led the county in rushing. I think he's averaging close to 130 yards a game, just on a phenomenal season. So we'd just like to give our best wishes to him for a speedy recovery and a full recovery. And I know going into the season, Coach Lucas really talked about how he had worked so hard to become a better running back, and it was really paying off. And just unfortunate to see his season end that way. But knowing him and knowing how hard he worked, he'll come back, and if he chooses to play at the next level in college, I'm sure he'll do fine. So best to him and everything. On our show this week, we'll talk to two Southwestern cross country runners. Both are young. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. Been having a fantastic season. Kate Golden, who's a sophomore, and Nathaniel Turner, who is a freshman. We'll talk to them about cross country and just talk about their season and stuff. Also, we had our Campbellsville University of Somerset men's basketball media day. We got to talk to head coach Al Gover. It's his second year there. It's the second year for the program, and he's got some new recruits, got some guys back, a little bit more experience. Of course, last year they had pretty much all freshmen, so it was tough to compete some of these colleges, when you had like going against some teams that might have had upperclassmen. So we'll talk to him about his basketball program this year. And last but not least, we have Michael Childers, who's our beat writer for Southwestern football. Michael Childers has been a long time contributor for the Commonwealth Journal. He's wrote about everything, but especially Southwestern sports for the past 10 years. So we'll talk to him about Southwestern football. So stay tuned, and thank you for stopping in and listening to the Commonwealth Journal Sports Show. Hey, I'm with Nathaniel Turner and Kate Golden, cross-country runners for Southwestern. Let's talk a little bit about the hot weather. It's been crazy hot this year. How's that affected your running this year?
It's been all right. It could be better, but you just gotta learn how to deal with it.
Does it fatigue you more? I mean, does it make you more tired, or how do you deal with it?
It makes you work harder, yeah.
Okay. What about you? I know you ran before. How does the hot weather affect you?
It makes my pace a little slower, but I try not to worry too much about it. Just kind of go by how I feel and not so much about paces.
Okay. How did you get started in cross country? What made you get into running?
I ran track in 6th and 7th grade, and then at the end of 7th I decided to run cross country because there were a lot of nice girls on the team, so I just wanted to try it.
So where did you run track at?
Somerset Christian.
Okay. So they had the track season and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. What about you? How'd you get started?
Well, I ran a little bit throughout elementary school, like first, second, third grade, and then I quit for a while because I just didn't interest me. So it was like 7th grade, summer of 7th grade, or going to 8th grade year. My brothers thought about joining, so I'm like, might as well join with my brother. And it's really been a positive thing to do.
Now, your dad's big into the running.
Yeah.
Talk about your dad and what he does. I know because a lot of people might know your dad, that Gordon is really involved in the timing and stuff like that in the running thing.
Yeah, he's helped out a lot. He's helped encourage me and train. Without him, I don't know where I would be right now.
Does he overtrain you, sometimes give you too much information, him knowing so much about running?
Sometimes.
Okay. Talk about your strategy. When you go to a race, and like sometimes, a lot of times they say go out fast,
yeah,
and get, what is your strategy in like a big race?
Well, if it's a big race like Louisville or Lexington, you want to get out far ahead because there's like groups and everything. It's hard to get by. You got to push your way through. But if it's a smaller race like region, you just get ahead of the pack. Right. Like I like to not put up all my effort at the beginning, but put it just enough to get ahead and then build off that and pass people.
Do you really go out a sprint, like say in a big race at Lexington or Louisville? Do you really go out in a sprint to try to get way ahead, or you just try to get where you feel comfortable?
Probably, yeah. You need to go out in a sprint.
Okay. What about you and your strategy?
For the bigger races, usually a sprint at the beginning. I try not to hold it too long so I don't get too tired. But yeah, that's usually smaller races, not so much. But for the big races, it's important.
Where do say like in a big race in Louisville, would you like to be at in the pack when you take out like that? I mean, I know you've won some of the races and some of the smaller races, stuff like that. But I mean, obviously you want to be out towards the front because you're like probably in the top 10% or 15% in most races.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't run a big race since last year, and my times have gone down a lot. I didn't run Lexington, so I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna kind of do it by how I feel on Louisville.
With the weather getting cooler, obviously I think your time's going to drop down. What's sort of your goals now that you think it's going to get cooler when you get into region? Hopefully it'll be in the 40s and 50s when you go to region.
I'd really love to break 20. That's probably my overall season goal.
Okay. How about you?
My goal for the season, I want to break 17.
Okay. All right. Hills and flats. I mean, cross country, it's a lot of hills, flats. What do you like best, hills or flats, and why?
It depends. With hills, you go up, you can pass a lot of people, but going down it gets a lot of free speed, and it's a lot hard to go up those hills. But in flats, it's like a dead sprint. You got to keep your same pace and don't let people pass you. I prefer kind of like how Cave Lake is. It's got that one hill. I kind of like that.
Okay. And usually like at state meet, it's sort of more of a flatter course a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like a big field. You just run circles around in.
What about you, Kate?
I like some hills, not too much up and down, but I think hills are helpful if you know how to run them right.
Do you feel like it's an advantage on hills to you against some other runners?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot, and good luck this season, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here with Coach Al Gover. He's a men's basketball coach at the Campbellsville University of Somerset. Second year. Talk a little bit about, you went through your first year, initial year, and just talk a little bit about that, how it went, and I think y'all did real well in the Nationals and everything. Talk about that a little bit last season.
Well, it was, from the beginning, we knew what kind of challenge we were up against, and our kids all coming from high school, they weren't really prepared for the college game. So, it took several games, actually. We started 0-13. We didn't win a game.
And you had all freshmen, too.
We had all freshmen, and our focus was simply to get better each and every day in practice and each and every game. And I think that's what they did, because we, starting 0-13, we finished 8-18, so that means we went 8-5 over our last 13. Ended up getting third place in the National Invitational, and finished on a strong note.
The one thing I really noticed was, you sort of walk in a smaller gym, you know what to expect. And when you watch us, I mean, they're big, they're physical, they get them down the court, they scored 100 points, they play above the rim. I mean, it's an exciting college game. Did it take you a while because you've coached high school for years and years, for you to adjust to that level of play?
Sure, it took, I was adjusting just like they were, because, the college game's more physical, it's faster, it's longer. So, we all had to adjust together. But I think we did, a pretty good job of doing that. Practices got a little rough at times, got a little intense at times, because, I don't want the kids looking at me hollering foul, 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 because in the college game, you may not get that cry. So, again, it took some growing pains, and it took some beatings that we took early, but eventually I think our kids responded pretty well.
Now, doing media day here, a lot of these kids I saw from last year. So talk about some of the kids you got returning from last year.
Well, we got 8 kids back, I think. We've got Titus Ransom from Bourbon County. He's our leading scorer from last year. He had 18 points a game last year, so he's back. We're expecting some big things out of him. AJ Thomas is back, our point guard that led us in assists last year. In fact, he was in the top 10 in the nation in assists. I think he was like at 6 assists a game last year. Keelan Kennedy's back. He led us in three-pointers made last year. I think he made like 43 or 44 last year. So, Meath Recloud's back. Malik Lovin's back. Antoine Hurt's back, Trayvon Cooper's back. So we've got a good say veterans, we're not veterans, they're sophomores.
Compared to last year, yeah.
Compared to last year, we're a lot older than we were
Will
this year.
any of these kids sort of be like the secondary coach, and maybe the guys who had experience and maybe sort of mentoring some of these kids, or somebody he may be able to step to that role?
Well, it's, last year we preached a lot that it'd be good to have some upperclassmen to lead by example. We didn't have that last year. This year, we've got a few kids that are really doing a good job of leadership, not only talking, but just their practice habits, how hard they work in practice, those type of things that the younger kids can see and follow. So that is helping, yes.
Talk about some of the kids you got coming brand new freshmen this year into your program.
Well, we've got, I think we've got some really good kids. Obviously, again, they're new to the college game, so it may take a few games to adjust. But we have TC Wright coming from Huntington Prep, who's about a 5'11" point guard, and he's been pretty impressive up to this point. He's quick. He's a leader type of player. And so we're expecting some good things out of him. Dion Finnison is coming from Louisville. He's been a little banged up at this point. Hasn't got to practice a whole lot, but we're expecting some good things out of him too. About 6'4", very athletic, can shoot the ball, get to the rim as well. So we're expecting some really good things out of him. Looking at my list here, a lot of these new ones. Kevin Kofer is a kid that we're expecting some big things out of. He's about 6'4", 240, big wide body, excellent footwork around the rim, excellent post moves around the rim, can step out and hit the 15-footer. He's going to give us some post presence that we really didn't have last year. So we're excited about that as well. Also, we have kids like Jacorian Johnson, who's an excellent shooter coming in. Galen Harris, a kid coming in from Madison Southern, who's actually been out of high school for a couple of years, but just a solid kid. Does what you ask him, plays defense, guards, plays team basketball. Keenan McKee comes from Madison Central. Actually, he went to Kentucky Christian out of high school, coming back to us from there.
So he's had a little college experience.
He's had a little college experience. He's a strong kid. We're expecting some pretty good things. He's looked pretty well in practice, so we're expecting some good things out of him. Nick Longmire from Macquarie County is coming to us, along with DT Knowles, Keyshawn Dixon as well. So we've got, we've got a lot of kids. We got to mix into the system, but they're working. Coaches are observing and evaluating and those type of things on what we got and who's best in what positions and those type of things. So again, it'll be a work in progress maybe for a little while, but hopefully by the time we get 3 or 4 games in, we'll have a good rotation and have a better understanding of what a rotation needs to be.
Talk about, it looked like on your list you got a lot, everybody representing from all parts of Kentucky. Talk about your recruiting process and what goes through the process of recruiting at Somerset.
Well, basically, we start touching base with kids, January, February, and we try to establish relationships with kids. We contact them. Of course, kids at that point don't really know what they want to do. They don't know what they're going to get, those type of things as far as offers and those type of situations. But we just keep contacting them and stay in touch. And once a week or so, we'll call and see how things are going, and just to keep Somerset out there. And
You don't have a Learjet like Calipari.
don't have a Learjet yet, and none of those things. But so our recruiting is mostly by the telephone or through emails or stuff like that, because it's just hard for us to travel long distances. But we do try to get out during the season and watch kids in Kentucky and get an idea of maybe who we want to target those type of things. So.
Talk about your schedule. 'Cause I know last year you only had like maybe 3 or 4 home games. It looks like you got a more expanded schedule. Of course, obviously you don't have a Coliseum or anything yet, but talk about your home schedule and some of the games you got scheduled here in Somerset.
Well, we have an expanded home schedule this year. We have 12 home games, so we've got many more games for the community to come out and watch this year. We have teams like Cincinnati Claremont coming in, of course, Campbellsville Harrodsburg's coming in.
Which, by the way, that's always a great game. That was one of the better games I've seen all last year. Was that the Harrisburg game on those? I guess the kids probably know each other a little bit, and it's really sort of a competitive game.
It obviously it'll develop into a rivalry, I'm sure, and it's good for the kids. So we have them coming in. We have other teams that I really can't think of right off the bat, but we do have teams like Simmons College out of Louisville. We have Boyce College out of Louisville coming in. So we have some good games for the community to come out and watch. So we hopefully will be exciting enough for people to come out and see and watch and give these kids some support.
All right, Coach, thanks for coming in, and good luck this season, man.
I appreciate it.
Hey, we're here with Michael Childers. He's been our beat writer for Southwestern football for what, going on 10 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, decade of covering Southwestern football. And, we've got a new coach. And I'm sure you've been through all the, they had 4 coaches?
4 coaches, yeah.
You've been through them all. Talk a little bit about Jason Foley and everything, about how he's fit into the program.
I think, it's still, year 1, but I think Coach Foley's done a good job of getting some excitement into the program. They've done a really nice job of, fixing up the field house and all the reservation. They've got, all the championship banners hung up and new paint. So I think he's doing a really good job, and he's got a lot of players out, and, it's something there's not been as many players on the roster the last few years, and he's got a really high numbers, and I think there's a lot of excitement around the program right now.
And probably a lot of kids have either played against him or for him because, he coached middle school forever, and I'm sure he's part of, the rivalries with Southern and Northern. So
yeah, so, that's one of their strengths right now is, freshmen and sophomores. I think they have like 30 freshmen, and the JV team's doing really well this year. I don't think they've lost a game yet. And so there's just a lot of excitement of, what's up and coming. And, the varsity team right now, their record may not be the best, but there's still, a lot of excitement coming up.
And that's what I was going to talk about. The record is sort of seeing, other than the Wayne County game, I mean, they've been, within a possession of every game, and just some have worked out. They've had some dramatic wins, but every game has just been a struggle.
Yeah, they lost to Belfry the first game, then went to Madison Southern, won in overtime. Coach Foley, instead of going for 1 in time, went for the 2 for the win. Knox Central, it's tough to win over there. Tough loss there. Wayne County, that was just a game. It wasn't going to happen. That
right.
Braden Sloan did really well, and then GRC, the big win on the road against the 6A powerhouse. Then of course last Friday, tough loss to North Laurel in district play.
And you even talked about that 2-point conversion. Even the GRC game, he went for 2 and then put them up. I guess made it 2 possessions instead of 1 possession. So he's really a gambler. I mean, he sort of likes to take chances.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think that's good to be aggressive, and he's not afraid to take those chances. Sometimes they don't work out, and fortunately for Southwestern, they have worked out in his favor. But I think that's good. He believes in his players enough to do that.
I know every time I've talked to Coach Foley when we do the pregame, it's always about injuries. I mean, the injuries. Talk about sort of the whole gamut of the injuries. It's like every week. And I think this week, do they stay healthy this week?
I think so. Yeah.
Great.
And I've been, like you said, I've been covering Southwestern football since my junior year, 2009, and I've been even around the program longer. I've never seen so many injuries, and it's not just injuries to random players. Like, it's their top players, the top echelon. Like, Austin Barnes has been hurt. Xavier Streeter, Chandler Crabtree was playing to start the year at quarterback, and he got hurt. Rowan Pennington, and just it seems like every week somebody. It's like who's hurt this week, and unfortunately they've had that. And then Gideon Brainerd, he's the most recent player, and he's still recovering. He didn't get as many carries Friday, so hopefully he'll be back to 100% this Friday against Whitley County.
Now, talk about the quarterback situation. I mean, is Crabtree playing yet, or is he still?
So he was probably the favorite for quarterback heading into the year, and then he got hurt. So he's just been in street clothes all year, and he's actually had a brace on his arm the other day. and so it's just been kind of Blake Burton and Xavier Streeter taking turns. And that's one they haven't found a consistent quarterback yet, and I think that that's part of the trouble with the offensive problems. So hopefully they can get something going, because district play is happening now, and they need someone to really, play a steady position at that quarterback spot.
Because in the streeter, they sort of go into a wildcat or something
Yeah.
like that. They sometimes sort of like UK's.
Yeah.
I guess they sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of very similar to the UK, with Sawyer Smith and Lynn Bowden situation. Xavier Streeter, he doesn't throw it as often, but sometimes they'll try to, throw him off guard with a pass. So I think he threw a couple passes the other day, but most of the time if they're going to pass, Blake Burton's in.
So they start off the district with a loss, and then they got Whitley County coming up. Which
Yeah.
Obviously, Pulaski had trouble with them, so that's gonna be another tough game.
Yeah, Whitley County last year, they did. I mean, their last game of the year, they lost at PC's. I think 61-0, and they went 3-8 last year. But they got a new coach named Jeff Irwin, and he's done a really good job turning that program around. And they're 3-3 right now, and they have a loss to PC in district play. So both teams coming in at.
And they just missed a field goal on that, or overtime, so no.
Yeah, so
what happened in that game.
and so both teams are 0-1 in district play. So one of those teams is desperately needing to win, and unfortunately, only one will win. Hopefully, it's the Warriors.
Yeah. Okay. They got a new kid, Tanner Wright, who I think just got ruled eligible, I guess, last week. Talk about him, because apparently he's a running back and a strong safety.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He kind of just burst on the scene in a big way. I think he only had 9 carries, but he had over 100 yards. His first carry was a big 17-yard run, and then the second carry was a 49-yard touchdown run. So, seen some really good stuff out of him, and hopefully, as he gets more into football playing shape, and he'll be able to help out the offense that's kind of struggled the last couple of weeks. So they'll really need him along with Chase Doan and Austin Barnes in the backfield to beat Whitley County this Friday.
I know they lost last week, but it was, when I was talking to Control, this is sort of the first week they really had everybody other than Crabtree back. Do you think maybe they can build on that? I mean, hopefully they can keep everybody injury-free and they get all the pieces and because I guess now kids are just having to move around to try to take a
Yeah,
first slot.
I think so. Just trying to get used to, somebody's team seems to be playing a different position every week. And then, last week they were in the game. It's just the first play of the game, North Laurel punted on their possession and Southwestern ran it back, and that was going to be huge. But then there was a penalty that got called back, so that really took a lot of momentum away. And then Southwestern scored again later in the game on a Chase Doan touchdown run, and that took some momentum away as well. So, they were in the game. It's just a couple mental mistakes kind of, separated North Laurel from Southwestern, and they still, only lost by 1 score.
And he wants to be a lot like North Laurel in the fact that I think North Laurel has like 4 or 5 running backs that just rotate. And now he's got like 4 running backs, and he sort of want to do that same thing.
Yeah, North Laurel, I was looking, they had 4 rushers last week that had over 300 yards. And then, Southwestern's got, Chase Doan, Austin Barnes, and Gideon Brainerd to really get those tough yards. Now you add in Tanner Wright, and they've just got a plethora of running back options to choose from.
Okay. All right, so this game coming up, what's your predictions on Southwestern Whitley?
If Southwestern comes out ready to play, I think they can win. I say by 1 score. But if they make those mental mistakes like they had last week, fumbles when they shouldn't have fumbled, Whitley County probably going to get the win. So hopefully the Warriors will come out on top, because it is a winnable game, and it is a very important game. Because now the last few years Southwestern just had 4 teams in the district, and everybody goes to playoffs, but now there's 5, so one team's staying home this year.
Yeah, and these are nothing wrong with the district last year, but you got Whitley County and North Laurel, South's a little bit down, but then you've got 4 teams at any given time can beat each other, so it makes it for tough.
Yeah, and you take a look at Pulaski, and they've really surprised me this year how well they've been playing. Johnny Hines has done a great job, and Drew Polson's done a really good job at QB1. And they've just, you could argue they could be undefeated. Had a hiccup against Lexington Catholic, but Pulaski County and Whitley County, they played a close game to PC as well, and North Laurel and PC always have good close games too. So any of these 5 teams could easily win district this year.
Okay. Well, I think it'll come down to a Jason Foley 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
They'll win by 1 point. So I don't know if he'll do it in the first score or the last score, but I'd say that.
I like it.
Thanks for stopping by.
No problem. Appreciate
Have a
having me.